gorgeous. So appreciate you tuning in today to the podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business success. And if you're brand new here, then I want to extend you a warm welcome. I appreciate you tuning in. This week's question from one of our ladies inside our community is fantastic. She says, Amanda, for years I have wanted to be financially independent so that myself and my family can live a life by design and not by default, just like you teach. But the problem is, when you say that my money will never exceed my personal empowerment, what precisely do you mean by that? Because I feel anxious about my future and I want to become financially independent too. This is a perfect question because I want to talk about our Live Now formula, and one of the letters inside that formula, empowerment. You see, the Gday Gorgeous podcast is where you're going to get real. You're going to get raw, relatable stories, answers, insights, and guidance, plus our proven formulas that can help you overcome your frustrations and get out there and live a life that you truly love each and every day, no matter your background. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson. I am a best-selling author, an inspirational speaker, an entrepreneur, and a trained DeMartini method facilitator. Plus, I'm a world-leading financial independence and business life success coach for the entrepreneurial woman who would love to release her inner multimillionaires. And to find out how I can help you gain the clarity, the inspiration, the certainty to go out there and design and live your dream life too, please come and visit me at my website, gdaygorgeous.com, or of course, click the link below in the notes today. And of course, before we get into it, be sure to have your journal and a nice cuppa ready, because today, I promise you, I am going on a money rampage and I am going to hold nothing back, because when it comes to financial independence and money, I want to set you clear. Good morning, gorgeous butterflies. Looking forward to today's podcast about money and financial independence. I'll give you a second to jump on and join me. And as I said a moment ago, make sure you have your journal, ladies, a little cup of tea, maybe a vodka, glass of wine, champagne, depending on where you are in the world, of course, because today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, financial independence and money. It is a subject a lot of people do not like speaking about. A lot of people are driven by high emotion when it comes to money, always based on their belief system, how they feel about it, how they grew up talking about it, and now the result that we each have in our life. That usually indicates your beliefs, where you are financially right now. So today I'm going to be asking some fabulous questions. I do want you to write them in your journal. We've got a bunch of gorgeous women here jumping on to join me. I'm going to jump straight into it today because this is one of these subjects that you hear me talking about it a lot. Because it is something that I do love to coach and I love to teach other women, because I've been through this journey myself, always wanting to know how to become financially independent so that when I get into my latter years, my mature years, that I'm not relying on the government, my family and my friends for support. Especially the thing that a lot of people don't think about is their health. What happens when you need an operation? What happens when the unforeseen happens? And so throughout my podcasts over time, you'll see that my outcome is to break the myths around money, bring the facts to the front, and help my listeners understand that yes, there are specific action steps that must be taken to enjoy financial independence, or next level up from independence is absolute financial freedom, where you have a cause bigger than yourself and your needs are well taken care of, and you couldn't possibly spend the amount of money that you have accumulated through wealth building. However, my goal and my mission is to set women, especially, and guys, if you're listening to this, you too, set you free of the shackles in your own mind, because this is what I needed to do to break through those limiting beliefs that so many of us have around money. Now, we know that to be true because 91%, in fact, actually, I'll go back. 99%, it is written by many philosophers out there, financial gurus. It is written that 99% of us will retire broke, with no money, and frightened. Now, that figure is true. It's been true for, hundreds of years. But why is that? And it comes down to the one thing that I want to talk about today. So getting straight back into it, one of the questions that came in from one of you gorgeous women inside our community, one of you butterflies, here's what she said. I'm just going to read it out behind you on my computer here. Amanda, for years I've wanted to be financially independent so that my family and myself can live a life by design, not by default like you teach. My problem is when you say that my money will never exceed my personal empowerment, what precisely do you mean? I feel anxious about my future and I want to become financially independent too. Now, give me a sign, ladies, a thumbs up or a love heart or a down, whatever you want, if you feel anxious about money and your financial future. Because if only 1% of the world population become financially independent, become financially free, then it's clear to stand that many people out there would be feeling anxious. If not anxious, most people try and block it out like it's not happening. But we're all grown-ups here, and I'm one of these mentors and coaches that I say, let's just bring the truth to the forefront. Let's just say it as it is and go, okay, if 99% of us get to our retirement without enough money to live on, without living in fear, without scrimping and scraping, without looking at a budget that makes our stomach churn at night, give me a thumbs up if you go to bed worrying about the bills, how you're going to pay the rent, how you're going to pay the mortgage, where the school kids' fee is going to come from, all these things we have going on our mind. There is nothing worse than that burning stomach, right in your guts here. It really hurts, and it's kept me awake for many years, which set me off on my journey of wanting to learn, wanting to understand it. What is the big myth around money, for God's sake? Why do we have such a reaction to money? It's not healthy. And so today I'm really going to ask some specific questions for you that I would love you to go away and answer after we finish this podcast, and ask yourself. You need to be able to answer these questions I'm going to share with you so that you know if you are on the path to financial independence, or like many people out there have set yourself up for the fantasy that God or somebody else is just going to take care of it. The universe will just take care of me. Let me just say right up front, the universe or God or the grand organized design, as I like to call it, takes care of those who take care of themselves. And so from my understanding, from my many years of immersing myself into personal development, personal empowerment, studying with many mentors, that sitting around hoping and praying, thinking that the universe will take care of it, is just a fantasy that we have set up in our own mind. And I'm here to break the myth. Now, some of you might get really pissed off and not happy with that particular comment, and I'm cool with that. But I know that from my own experience of having to go through these questions that I'm going to give you, the action steps, that I need to be mindful and present and not emotionally charged to be able to take care of my money, get my money working for me. And so over the past 20 years, myself and my husband, we have become financially independent, but only through understanding about money, studying it, and following these action steps, following these questions, and not just hoping and praying for a different outcome that was never going to happen. So let's get into it, ladies. As I said, you'll need a journal. If you're watching this and you're new, welcome. You will definitely need to be taking some notes, because this is going to be gold today. The biggest key, ladies, to financial death is lack of emotional mastery, number one. the biggest cause of financial death is lack of emotional mastery. Second is knowledge. Third is applied skill. But to top all that off, a mentor who is wealthy and on top of that has a wealthy mindset to guide you. Now, this is the biggest problem that I see in the marketplace, and comes from many years of mentoring and talking about it on stage and traveling the world talking about wealth creation, is that the reason that 99% of people go to the end of their days or go into retirement without enough money boils down to one thing, and that's one thing only: lack of self-worth. Please write that down. And so self-worth comes from a belief system about ourselves and our past conditioning. So if you have a low self-esteem, you don't like yourself that much, you're constantly judging yourself or others about money, then it's highly likely that you'll never enjoy financial freedom. And the question that I have is, wouldn't you want to enjoy financial freedom? If not for you, for your children, for your family, for your church, for your community, or those you really love and care about. Because your emotions and your thoughts create the feelings. Your feelings become your words become your actions, and in time your actions create a result. And so this is the exact answer. 99% of people will never have financial independence. They will never be free of the nightmare, and I believe it's a nightmare, going to bed every night with a stomach ache, not knowing where the money is going to come from, not knowing who's going to look after you in retirement is a nightmare in my view. Who agrees with me? Give me a sign if you think that's a nightmare that you don't want to spend the next 30 years, 50 years thinking about, 60 years. Some of you are young listening to this podcast. Who wants to go to bed like that every night? It's just, there's something that can be done about it. And this is the stuff I want to talk about today, because I'm a pragmatic type of mentor. I think most of you know me now. I understand the universal laws. I teach the universal laws. But at some point, there has to be a pragmatic component to creating financial independence. And I don't want to just talk about it. I want to teach the specific traits, the specific actions that go in and around making your money a slave to you. Now, who likes the idea of that? Instead of you being a slave to your money and your money problems, making money a slave to you and the lifestyle that you dream of for you, your family, and others. And so what it boils down to, the first thing is making sure that you feel worthy enough to invest in a mentor who can change your belief system. Now, most people believe they don't need a mentor. Most people believe they can get there on their own. From my own experience, that has not been my experience. I think my ladies know, but if you're new to this, $600,000 invested in real money, real time, in real education over 23 years. $600,000 Australian money is a lot of money. You could buy one house with that, two houses. You could buy a lot of other things with $600,000. But here's the question I would ask. Would you invest an amount of money, not that amount, but an amount of money to be free of the anxiety, the stress, and the worry? Yes or yes? And so these are the questions that most people aren't prepared to ask themselves. They think, well, it'll just work out for me. Something will happen. The government will take care of me. Hopefully I'll win the lotto. Hopefully I'll get some money when somebody passes away in a will. I don't want to live my life like that. And so I think the biggest key is who is mentoring you? Who is helping you change your thoughts and your patterns of habit to be able to break through that financial barrier? Because a lot of people get the misconception that, okay, I'll just start learning about it. I'll just start investing. I'll just start putting my money into real estate, into stocks, into shares. I'll give my money to somebody else to manage. But what happens in this instance is, if you haven't done the work on yourself, 99.999% of the time you will probably lose your money or live in fear of losing your money. So I just want you to take that nice little distinction there and really think about what I said, because I am speaking from experience. I have been that person that wasn't financially equipped, wasn't financially educated. I wasn't emotionally strong enough to understand my money, and therefore I lost my money. I gave our money to somebody else to take care of, lost it all. I've bought silly things, invested in silly things because I was emotionally imbalanced. Got to ask yourself, are you emotionally imbalanced? When it comes to money, do you feel your heart rate go up? You feel stressed out, you feel anxious. And that's when your mind is racing all over the place because you're not fit in the mental capacity and the emotional capacity to control yourself when it comes to money. This is why money outruns people. So I had a mentor once that said, Amanda, money has 4 legs, you've got 2. You will never outrun the money. And money is always attracted to calmness and to those who value it the most. Please write that down. So money just is an energy. We all know that we're all vibrational energy. So is money. Money is attracted to those who appreciate it the most, who appreciate themselves the most, understand it, have a plan for it, have a cause bigger than themselves for it, and someone who is emotionally stable. Because here's what I know. Those with the most certainty get the money. Even if we took all the money in the whole world and divided it up, and I hear a lot of poor people say this, and yep, I'm getting straight to it today. As I said, I'm here to upset a few people. I know that a lot of people won't understand what I'm saying, won't like what I'm saying. My ladies get me because they've had me for so long. But poor people always want to take the money, divide it up, and give everyone equal amount. Here's the problem with that. When you are emotionally unstable around money, I'm just talking about money now, and this is not to knock anyone or to judge anyone, but when we are not mentally super strong, super fit and understand about money, the money runs away from the poor people who have no appreciation for it, no understanding, no plan for it, and it runs to the hands of those that appreciate it, love what money can do, and they have a bigger plan, a bigger cause. Does this make sense? Like, who thinks that's just gold going, oh my God? This is exactly why I will sit here as a mentor and say, yeah, I'll walk the talk. I have made so many mistakes, lost so much money, and that's probably why I get all rampaged on it. I said to the girls this morning, I'm going on a money rampage. Oh, hold me back. Because I have been the one that was emotionally unequipped, and I didn't have financial understanding, and I didn't have the right mentor. And so if you don't spend the money and invest in that mentor, work harder on your mind, you will never, ever, ever have the money in the bank that I know as humans we all dream of, even if we pretend money is not important. I do not believe it. And if anyone says that to me, I know that there's something in their background. It's an old belief, or it's a self-worth thing. And this is why I say your money can never exceed self-worth. So self-worth comes with emotional balance, physical balance, mental balance. Write those things down. If you want to make millions, you ladies in my community want to become a multi-millionaires in your own right. And I believe it's a duty, and that each of us should be aiming towards that in our own way. And it will show up in different areas of your life depending on what your values are, that we have a duty to take care of ourselves, our loved ones, and give to others. Because if you don't have that on your agenda, then you're holding back. your gifts and your talents and your service to the world. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm definitely going on a rampage. So ladies, give me some notes here. Give me a heart if you love it. Kylie's going, this is gold. Aren't you at the doctor, girlfriend? Sitting in there watching this live. Because I really want you to think about this. For the masses of the people, I'm not pointing out anyone in particular, I'm talking about the masses, and this used to be my own situation. So again, I'm just here to set you free, tell you the freaking truth as it is, because I'm not holding back. The masses, they want money. They all want the money, but they don't have a plan. So girls, write this down in your journal. I love and the love hearts. Everybody in my community wants to become a multi-millionaires. Isn't that a sexy tone? So most people want the money. They have no plan. The masses, they want immediate gratification. So this used to be me as well. I'd get the money, and before I knew what I was doing, it would be gone. Who's done that? The money comes in, the money goes out. I don't even know where it goes. And I would be thinking about the next thing that I could purchase. You know, as the money expands, the lifestyle expands. And here's where the emotion takes over the intelligence. So write that down. Where does my emotion override my intelligence? So the money expands, the life expands. Then what happens is the masses spend their money on depreciable items. And I think I learnt this many years ago with Robert Kiyosaki. Sorry, girls, I hope my connection's okay in here. That, you know, the next doodad, I think that's what he calls it. Where does the money go on doodads? Yes, I'm in that bucket as well. But, you know, for many, many years, I have been more careful where the money goes. I want the money to work for me. That thing's got 4 legs. I've got 2 legs. I'm going to get tired way before my money gets tired. I'm going to wake up one day and go, you know what? I don't feel like making a video today. I'm feeling a bit haggy. I don't want to get out of bed. Or I've had too many bubbles. Or I'm going on a holiday. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think that will happen to me, girls, so I'm at least 120. But think about you. You know, we only have a finite amount of health and well-being available to be able to make our money in the years that's most important. And so what happens is the masses spend most of their life wasting years living a moderate lifestyle or a lifestyle that outdoes their level of income. So spending more than we have, which creates credit card debt, loans that are hard to pay off, and more and more and more stress and anxiety loaded on. And it just goes, oh my God, I can't see a way out. Now, has anyone had that experience? I've had it more times than I can imagine, and I hated it. I just didn't want to be that person anymore where I was just piling. I think at one stage I had maybe 5 credit cards. You know, as I said, you know, this is what we are trained to do. The media and marketing, they train us to spend without thinking. They make the ads on TV so glamorous and beautiful, and they want you to keep spending so they can control you. And so you can never pay this debt off because your income rarely can exceed the expenses, or goes back to the level of thinking. And then the other thing I want you to think about here, how do your money worries, the anxiety that you have around money, how does that affect your health? How does that affect your future? How does that affect your family environment? How does that affect your ability to earn more money as you mature? Now you think about this. If you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s, and you still haven't got your money mindset worked out, I call it the Millionaires mindset, well, your capacity to earn money is only going to decrease as the years go on. So that's got to be thought about, doesn't it? And your mental and emotional state. So as the years roll by and you haven't got that Millionaires mindset going on, how can you mentally and emotionally balance that out? How is it going to affect you as we mature? And this is the questions I'd ask myself. Oh my God, I feel vital, or I have a lot of vitality in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s. Ladies, I'm 53, 54 next month. I have my days where I'm feeling like I am not a sprinter anymore. I used to be able to run like the Melbourne Cup horses. Now I'm like one of these bloody old jalopies out the back. And it makes me think about my money. It makes me think about, well, who's going to look after me in the future? I don't have any children. I believe I won't have any government support. You know, I've got to take care of myself. I've got to start thinking about this. Already we take care of members of our family, both of our parents and different charities and different things like that. And so these are the questions that I would love you to ask yourself and really think about. So what I'm going to do is have a sip of my water because I'm going to town here. I said I would go to town. Excuse me. And now I want to ask 5 questions. So ladies, I'm going to get you to write down these 5 questions. Pardon me, I'm really going off. And if you're watching this and you're new, thanks for joining in. Get your journal and write down these 5 questions. Bloody hell, I hope my internet's working. You're all looking gorgeous, by the way, ladies. I want to just send you a big cyber hug. Thanks for jumping on. I knew the money would get you here today because all of you inside my community, I believe you are either already multimillionairesses or millionairesses, multimillionairesses in the making. So give me a sign if that is you, the multimillionaires in the making, or already on your way to being a multimillionaires, or you are a multimillionaires. This is what we want to talk about. So the 5 questions, let me bring them up. And you can write them down quickly. Do you know, or when was the last time you worked out precisely what your total assets are? So that is a question that I would ask myself right up front. Do I know, or have I worked out what my total assets are? Assets are things that you own of value that you have no loans on and you don't owe anything on them. Oh my God, my connection here. I hope it's good. Ladies, can you hear me? Am I good to go? It's playing up my connection. I can see it. Second, I want to talk about when was the last time, I'm good. Okay, thanks. When was the last time you worked out precisely, and do you know exactly what your total liabilities are? Now, your liabilities are things you owe money on. Most people believe their home is an asset. It is only an asset if there's no money owing on it. If you owe money on it, it's a liability. Okay, so the liabilities can come in the form of all your credit card debt, your school fees, college debt, if you've gone to college or university and you're paying down that, taxes, as I said, your home loans, personal debt, anything at all that you owe money on is a liability. And the third question from that is, then what is your actual net worth? Because to become financially independent at some stage, we've got to get that money working for you, not spending it. And this is the big lesson that I needed to learn growing up, and why I have invested so much time, energy, money, and resources into the right mentors to help me get my millionaires mindset into action. So you need to know these numbers. Then number 4, do you currently track exactly where every dollar of your money goes every week? So what happens is, if your money is in a mess, or if your mind is in a mess, your money's in a mess. If your mind is not emotionally balanced around your money, based on your beliefs and your thoughts and your actions, then the money in the bank will be missing. You'll be going, well, shit, where's all my money? Well, I can't remember where it's gone. Who spent it? I've been there myself, right? And so tracking is the key. For the next month, ladies, I'm giving you this little challenge, 30-day challenge inside my community, inside my Millionaires community. For 30 days, track every dollar you spend. You will be so surprised where the money goes. Now, I used to do this as a personal trainer many years ago, when people that had weight problems were usually based on emotional imbalances, not a chemical imbalance like some people think, or a thyroid problem. That usually comes from an emotional imbalance that sets off the thyroid. That's a whole different podcast. And food. And so they were barely eating any food, and yet the weight was stacking on. Now, that comes from an emotional imbalance as well. But one of the interesting things that we used to do is track every morsel of food that went into their mouth. And most people would say to me, oh my God, I can't believe I ate this and this and this, but I didn't think I was, eating, but I was watching a movie at the time. Or I was talking and I didn't realize, the hand was going to the mouth, So these little things, there's little nuances, but tracking is such a powerful exercise to do that can really help you. Number 5, here's the thing that I really get ramped up on, and I'm going to do another podcast. And if I run out of time today, I'm going to keep going on this podcast next week. This is the most important one outside a mentor. Do you pay yourself first and have a forced savings plan to build up your financial independence? Because when your money comes in, whether it's from your job, your career, your business, or whatever investments, do you pay yourself first? Because if you don't pay yourself first, then you have less self-worth and therefore end up having less net worth, if that makes sense. You are the business. You are the bomb, as some people say. If you want to be the multimillionaire as you were born to be, then it is very, very, very important, critical that you pay yourself first. So when your wage comes in, when your money comes in, even if it's coming through a business, you need to be taking a portion of that money and putting it into what I like to call Millionaires buckets. So what are these Millionaires buckets? Okay, so I hope you're writing notes. Give me a sign if you're following me. You're loving what you're hearing. You want me to keep going on my rampage because I'm getting into it now, girls. And we have okay connection because I can see it's bouncing in and out. They are working on our NBN around here. It's painful. So I'll have a quick sip, mind you, while we're doing this. Okay, my girls are with me. Fabulous. My millionairesses in the making are with me. So when you pay yourself first, my beautiful ladies, these are the things I want to have 7 millionaires buckets. Write that down. My 7 millionaires, well, I like to say multimillionaires, because $1 million is not going to help anyone much these days with inflation. By the way, the cost of living doubles every 15 years. We need to be prepared for this. This is not to scare you. This is to excite you, to educate you, and to get you believing your worth. The more you get your millionaire's mindset in order, the more money you will have to manage in time. So in your 7 millionaires buckets, bucket number 1, millionaires bucket number 1 is your savings. Forced savings. Now, this will have to be another podcast because I can't get right into the nitty-gritty of it today, but I'm going to probably do another one next week. Savings. You need to save a portion of your income, at least 10%, 20%. Now, that is said out there from financial masters that when you get to your 40s, you should be saving 40% of your income. When you get to your 50s, you should be saving 50% of your income. Not to scare you. I know most people go, oh, woo back, Amanda, that's not going to happen. Save 10%. If you can pull out a minimum of 10%, put it into your savings millionaires bucket, because that in time is what you'll be investing. Second bucket, your millionaires bucket is self-education. This is why 99% of people are broke, mentally, emotionally, and eventually physically, by the time they hit those years where they go, oh, I can't work anymore. I don't want to work. I'm not that, that thoroughbred that I used to be. They haven't put any money away for self-education. Those who are not educating themselves are decaying and they're dying, and I'm saying it straight up front. It is the truth. If you don't feel worthy, or you don't believe in further education, self-education, getting a mentor who can bust through these beliefs, then you cannot expect to have financial independence. And if that's you, that's totally cool, but I'm just saying it as it is. So bucket number 2, your Millionaires bucket, self-educate. A portion of your weekly income needs to go into your education fund, because you need new knowledge, you need new skill. You can't just give your money to people and hope for the best. I know for a fact, I have listened to so many mentors, been taught so many things, that even financial planners, and I'm not saying this, I love financial planners, by the way. If you're a financial planner, I have total respect. Some financial planners love your money more than you do. So be very careful who you're giving your money to. And I always ask a financial planner, what is your net worth? Because I've had this happen to me. I had a personal banker try and get us to invest millions of dollars into a tree farm in Tasmania. And I asked that banker, he was a private banker for wealthy people, I asked him what his net worth was, and he hung his head. And a month later, he was no longer even in that bank. Nothing to do with our conversation, but I want to know, if I'm going to hand my money over, who's got the money? So I want to do business or learn from somebody who's already a multimillionaire heading towards a billionaire maybe. I would never ask the advice of somebody who does not have a result, because I don't believe them. Because if they really believed it, they would have done it. That's my saying. I always used to say that in my seminars. If you knowed it, you would have done it, okay? Again, not to knock anybody, not to judge anyone, but this podcast is real, it's raw, it's relatable, because it's based on truth. Now, the third Millionaires bucket, ladies, kids' education if you have them. So if you have children, you want them to go to college, you want them to learn things we didn't learn growing up, children's education, get it in there. So, and then if you don't have children like myself, or you're an empty nester, or your children are now self-supported, put that portion into your forced savings or your self-education bucket. Don't go and spend it on a new purse like I would once upon a time. Okay? You get all those trinkets when you set yourself up. Number 4, Millionaires bucket. Then we need a bucket for taxes, your income, like your GST, your company, your state tax. Of course, depending on where you live in the world, you will have different taxes that you need a bucket for. Bucket number 5, Millionaires bucket number 5, loans and repayments. Debt that you need to pay down. If you can't control your emotions, you will never control your credit card debt. Get rid of your credit cards or get an Amex. I use an Amex and I spend everything on my American Express, and then it has to be paid off at the first of every month, okay? That's how we do it. I'm not telling you what to do, and I am not a financial advisor. I am sharing my knowledge based on wisdom, being in the trenches and actually doing it myself, myself and Matt. Bucket number 6. Bucket Millionaires number 6 is a vacation account, a holiday account, we call this in Australia. You want to be putting some money in so that you're not all lopsided, getting pissed off, feeling like you're not having any fun in life. We need a balance in life. We need to feel that we are having something going on in the 7 areas of life. We are, as human beings, we have these 6 needs. Tony Robbins talks about them. We need to feel that we're getting something for it, reward for effort, so to speak. So have a vacation bucket for your Millionaires dreams. And then number 7, I call that my Millionaires dream bucket. Now, what is a dream bucket? A dream bucket might be that big chunky goal that you want in the future. Like, for instance, when you heard my story about my 20-year dream that is my home that I am sitting in now. It wasn't an instant, it was a 20-year dream bucket. And in that bucket, not only would I put money, but I would collect images and visuals and things like that, my big scrapbook. I don't know what your dream is, but I know you know what it is. And so in those 7 millionaires buckets, that is why when you get your money every week, you need to control it. Don't allow other people's priorities to control your money. You are the most important person. Now notice those 7 buckets, they're in order for me, because I have a forced savings plan. Self-education is as important as oxygen for me, because eventually that's where financial independence and financial freedom will come from. So that in time you invest your money and then you get a return that is got nothing to do with you working. I'm not talking about action-based trading or anything like that. I'm talking about a proper dividend. So they are the 7 millionaires buckets. Give me a sign, ladies, if you love those. You've written them down and you are going to start the 7 buckets, your multimillionaires buckets of financial freedom today. Good stuff. Now, to finish up on this podcast, there's just a couple more things that I really want to share. The masters versus the masses. Yeah, here they come. Here come all the signs. When it comes to financial independence, financial mastery, becoming a multimillionaires in your own right, taking care of yourself, your family, those you love, your churches, your causes, whatever it is for you, there is a distinct and devastating difference between what we call the masters and the masses. And so I want to talk about the masters. The masters this is who we are in our group here. And if you're watching this is the group that you'd want to be in, the masters. The masters know financial independence begins on the inside and works its way out. If you are a mess on the inside, you will never ever enjoy it. And I would never sit here as a mentor and set you up for failure, because it's just the truth. They commit to learning about money and creating money through a business that serves people. So if you're sitting there and you don't like people, you don't like the idea of serving others, you don't care about anything except yourself, very, very rarely will you become financially independent. Most people, of all the 1% of people who become financially free, done it through business or a service. Now, you could be an entrepreneur, a business owner, or still have a career and do that, because your service, your loving service, can be put through another person's company. You don't have to own the business. I want to be really clear on that. But remember, the more you help other people get what they want, the faster you will get what you want. All right? And the third thing is they love to serve others. So here's how the money masters work. They love to solve problems. They love to serve other people, and they love to make their money work for them in time after they have worked for it, and sometimes for years. Becoming financially independent is not an overnight get-rich thing. It is just not the truth. I have invested in stupid things, thinking that I could make a quick buck. Every single time I've been bitten on the bum. The only time that we made real money, that now that money is invested and in time it will give us a massive return, is through a loving service, through our education programs, through our speaking and helping other people get what they want. We in turn got what we want, and now that money is out there with its 4 legs working its bum off for me and my husband, my family, my charities, things that we love, because I physically will not be able to do the work that the money can do in time. And I'm sharing this with from my heart, not putting myself up there and putting anyone down here in a pit. That is not my intention. My intention is from my heart to say, it's time for us all to grow up. It's time for us to take responsibility. It's time for us to take control of our emotions. And this is what I spoke about last week on my podcast about, being able to facilitate and do the DeMartini method with people to help them dissolve their emotional angst around money. It's time we took the reins, ladies, and anyone watching this podcast. I truly believe it in my heart. It's time we took the reins of our own future, because the government in our country, I don't know where you're listening from, and I know a lot of other countries do not have government assistance. The money will eventually, there will not be enough. And to live the life that we live now, in our 60s, our 70s, our 80s, and into our hundreds, because we're living longer through different medicines and being able to control our emotions. That will help you live longer too. I can assure you of that. When you dissolve emotional baggage, you can dissolve many anxieties and things that are going on in your body that's stuffing up your immune systems. And, this is not to take the place of doctors and health practitioners or anything like that, but just to get control. And I love to say to my ladies, get in the captain's seat of your own ship. Do not be a passenger out of control, especially when it comes to money, because at the end of the day, it will beat you and it will stuff your health. It will stuff up your relationships. It will make you angst. It will stress you to the eyeballs. And so ask yourself this question. I've got another 5 questions that I want to finish up on, ladies. Give me a sign if you're going to give me another 5 minutes. I really think this is important for you to finish up, because these are the questions that I would ask myself. Yep, are we good to go? Yep, they're still here. My podcast is supposed to go for 30 minutes. We're into 43 minutes, but shit, they're worth it, eh? Now ask yourself, because I always say this, right? The quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life and the destiny, and the level of your deserve. Now, I want you to write that down, because you always get paid in exact proportion to the value you bring to the world. Write that down. So if your self-worth is low, you're bringing low value to the world and you're getting paid low. If your self-worth comes up, you've broken the emotional barriers. You bring more value to the world because you are feeling fabulous about yourself. You're not beating yourself down because you are a mirror. You're just reflecting, and therefore your deserve level goes up. Okay, so here's the questions. I'm going to finish off with 3 or 4 questions, then we'll wrap up. What was the last book you read? Was it fiction or non-fiction? What was the title and what did you learn? What books, if any, do you have sitting in your home library? What do you know and understand about business, money, and investing? Who are you asking money advice from? Who is your mentor? Who is helping you bust through or break down, or I like to say, resolve and dissolve the baggage you have going on in your mind that stops you from being a multimillionairess? And how do you plan to accumulate the net worth needed and invested in time to give you a return that you can live off for the rest of your life? Now, ladies, I have many more questions that I want to go through, and I'm going to run out of time. And I think that it might be prevalent if I pick up this again next podcast next week, because I haven't finished yet and I really would love to give you so much more value. I have more questions that I want to ask you around money and your finance, because I just think it is so vitally important to set yourself free, as I've had to learn over time through much heartache, through many lessons, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I see it now as all perfect. And, if I can help you get through that, because I have so much valuable advice, but I want to just finish up with this. If you are looking for advice financially, emotionally, business-wise, in any area of your life, health-wise, anything, make sure that you are getting your advice of somebody who has your highest interest at heart, somebody who walks their talk, I would say that, somebody who has what you want to achieve. So if they've got fantastic health, if you want fantastic health, they need to have fantastic health and understand it. Comes to money, comes to getting a new job, a relationship, something like that. Make the time every single day, every day, to empower your mind and to really try and start to control your emotions. If you don't get someone to help you, start reading books, start going to seminars, start working on yourself, or you'll never master the money. Invest in the education you need to upskill, whatever area. Now, today we are talking about money. But, if you don't start reading financial books, you don't start understanding, don't understand self, let alone the markets, how can you make that money work for you? Where's it going to go? Okay? And I would say, last of all, because I'm not going to finish this today, empower all 7 areas of your life, because here's what I know, and I know a lot of wealthy people. I have been a personal trainer back in my younger years for a lot of wealthy people. I mentor wealthy people. I get to speak with wealthy people in my, when I'm on stage. Here's what I know. Money alone will never make you happy. I love to say money makes you very happy, but only if you have control of your emotions, you're empowered in all 7 areas of life. Because many people make the mistake that they will flog themselves, work just for the money, but then they let all the other areas of their life go. Think about it. You want a balanced life. And some people might say you can only think about one thing at a time. It's not true. You can invest into yourself every day, pay yourself first, okay, in your Millionaires bucket, but you are the business. That's what I want to say. You are the business. You are the most important person. You are the CEO, the captain of your ship and the captain of your destiny. So that's what I'm going to think about this today. I'm going to finish it up. And if it's okay, I am going to absolutely pick up this next week, and I'm going to keep going on this path, because as you can see, this is the one I love to rampage about, because I've seen money affect people's relationships. They have lost love, they have lost their children, they've lost their health, they've lost everything. So ladies, I hope you enjoyed that today. Remember, you are worth it. You are worthy. You are already a multi-millionaires in whatever is highest on your values. However, to shift it up to the money area, we just need to do a few things, and that's what I'm going to pick up on next podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on today, because money always gets people emotional. You'll either feel angst about it or feel excited about it. And this is where you need to know what you need to work on, and ask yourself, am I going to let these emotions run me for the rest of my life? Because it is going to affect every other area. So that's it today, beautiful ladies. I think I'm running out of voice. Can you believe it? That's just so not like me. I love each of you. So ladies, I look forward to catching up next week's podcast. That was a huge one today, and as you can see, I haven't even finished it. So until next week, I so appreciate you tuning in to the Gday Gorgeous podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business life success. And if you liked this episode and got massive value from it, and I hope you got all those questions down, I would be super grateful if you just take 30 seconds to leave me a review and pay it forward by sharing this podcast information with somebody else you care about, your family, your friends, your daughters, your sons, anyone you know would greatly benefit from this valuable information. Lastly, to find out more about my G'day Gorgeous coaching for women who want to release their inner millionaires, please visit me at gdaygorgeous.com, and I'll see you on the inside. And of course, till next week, as I like to say, be bold, be courageous, and be more fabulous. Bye for now.